everyone. I'm sure you watched the course orientation video by now, or at least I hope you have. But if you haven't and you're going straight to the lab portion or the lab assignments, that's fine too. So I'll just start by introducing myself. My name is Professor Martinez. I am going to be your chemistry professor for 1405. So this is Intro Chem, Introduction to Chemistry. Very happy, to start the course with you all and see how this semester goes. Hopefully it goes well. So this is an online class, and not only is this the lecture portion, but it's also the lab. So it's kind of like two classes in one. So I know there is kind of a lot of assignments, but bear in mind it's a lecture and a lab. So for lab, you have lab assignments, and hopefully you've explored the D2L site. But I wanted to start off with just showing you how this looks, and I need to go into student mode. So for you, your content section is right there on the top left corner when you enter the course site. For the lab material, you will scroll down to lab material right here, click it, have the labs in order, obviously. Click on lab 1, for example. This is what we're starting off with. Not only do I have just what you're overall gonna do in this lab, or what I want you to cover in this lab, but I have the link for the textbook. So if you, let's say, wanted to open that up, you can click it. It actually takes you straight to the textbook. So you might want to right click and open in a new tab if you don't want to lose this tab, but it takes you to the textbook, like the relevant chapter. And then I also have the assignment. So I have like general instructions just for the labs. So obviously open up your lab. I have both a Word and a PDF. Read the objective, watch the pre-lab video. Hopefully that's what you're doing now. You can also watch optional videos that are more lecture based, relevant to the lab. So for example, this safety video that I've linked here, the measurements density sig figs video that I've linked here, just some more videos about scientific notation and rounding, things like that. So if you feel like you need to refresh, you're like, hey, I don't remember how this ties to lecture, you can watch these types of videos, these optional videos I have here. I don't have the pre-lab video linked yet because that's what I'm making right now. And then, once you've watched the videos, taken some notes on the objective and intro, and I'm going to show you where that is in the actual lab handout, you're going to go ahead. Sorry about that. You're going to go ahead and complete it. And, there's a procedure. You're going to follow it. You're going to collect some data, and then you're going to complete some applied exercises. From there, you will upload your lab assignment once you're done to this link right here in this same folder. Okay. If you are curious about how to submit assignments, I have some FAQ answers here, and just to show you, overall, just upload it as a single file, either a Word or a PDF. Don't upload as a bunch of different pictures, please. Always double check if your submission went through. Sometimes you might upload the wrong file. That's completely okay. Just go ahead and double check it before you're done with the submission, and then upload the right one if that's what you need to do, so that grading can go smoothly and you won't, get a 0 or anything like that. So let's click on the assignment. So the same instructions, and then here I have the PDF and the Word doc. I don't know which one's first, but okay, that's the Word doc. Let's go on the PDF. So it opens up the attachment, and you can use whichever one you need first, or whichever one you need that is relevant to you. So let's say you like to print your assignments and complete them by hand. I would suggest printing the PDF. It prints more easily, and the format doesn't mess up. So go ahead and do that. And then you're going to go through the different sections. So first, understand what the objectives are. The intro. So in the intro, there's a lot of good information, and I'm not just copying and pasting for no reason. They're good summaries of things that are brought up in lecture. So definitely also use them as a resource in that sense. But take notes, read them, read the introduction, read the different portions. I have examples, I have explanations of things. So definitely use it to your advantage. Don't just scroll right past it. It usually contains a lot of useful information that you'll use later on in the other portions of the lab. So for example, I have the rules for sig figs. Well, you already had those in the lecture, but if you needed a nice, formatted Word version of this, here you go, right? Rules for rounding. So a lot of different things. So you finally get to the procedure. Notice that for this lab, there's two parts, and it makes sense because the lab is called safety and measurements. So part 1, safety, and then part 2, measurements. So you can complete one part at a time, however you really want to do it. But you just read through, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but you read through and you see what you need to do. And for each step, most likely you'll have a corresponding portion in the data collection that you need to fill out. So for example, part 1, safety, you have this paragraph you need to read, and then you need to you need to list 5 things, in the data collection portion. So that's where these 5 lines, answer spaces come from. Okay. Now, one thing that I look for when I'm grading is that you follow instructions. And almost all the time, whenever I have you write things out, I'm going to ask to please answer in complete sentences. So part of following instructions is following that. So just, they can be simple sentences, but just make them complete sentences. I want you to practice your science writing when you're working on these lab assignments. Notice again here as well. And then part 2 for this lab, all you're doing is you're looking at these different images of different instruments from the lab that are being used to complete measurements. So for example, here we have a mass measurement where we're using a triple beam balance to measure the mass. So it shows you like the zoomed out version, and then it zooms in more and more. You may need to zoom in a little bit, to really see. But if you do have any trouble seeing them, we'll see what I can do, to help it be more clear. But I just suggest, zooming in as far as you can. It can get a little bit blurry, but for the most part, I think you should be able to read it. And you're just going to complete all these measurements. So these little lines right here, this empty line, that's where you're supposed to complete the measurement. Sorry if I'm scrolling kind of fast, but it's just, a bunch of different measurements. That's the point of this lab, for you to complete different measurements with different instruments. So mass measurements, volume measurements, temperature measurements, okay? And then right before you finish this portion, you're going to tell me how many sig figs were in each of the measurements. So, question number 1 had parts A, B, C, D, right? Question number 2 had parts A, B, C, D, E, F. So you're going to fill all those out. Tell me how many sig figs there were in each of them, and so on. And then for the applied exercises, once again, you're going to follow the instructions and just answer the question. So if I tell you, complete sentences, then follow that. Here, you're just reporting precision of instruments, uncertainty, and unit. So like I said, in the intro part is where you find pertinent, relevant information that'll help you answer this. So you can refer back to the intro. I don't want to spoil it for you and over explain here, but you refer back to the intro, and then that'll help you answer this. So hopefully this helps guide you through this first lab. Just let me know if you have any questions at all, and I'll be happy to answer.